A few years ago at Warped Tour, I was waiting to watch my favorite band of all time, and I was right up at barricades waiting in anticipation for my favorite band to go on next. And the singer of the band before that just looked at me and a group of other girls and just continued to, like, being like, "You're just a slut."
But this is the world that we live in, you know? And the content that we consume.
One of the players should beat you to death with their hockey stick.
Like the whore you are.
Yes, women workers do present problems, Joe. It's tough, I know, but there are thousands of others just like you all over the country facing the same problems.
Another thing, the cold, crisp taste of Coke is so satisfying, it keeps me from eating something else that might really add those pounds.
You see, they're not naturally familiar with mechanical principles nor machines.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
My role is a woman.
Yeah.
Female happiness is an oxymoron.
When breaking in any new worker, and of course especially a woman, you've got to explain every angle of the process down to the last detail.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
Shut up and sit down.
I think it's more male dominated just based off how, the misconceptions were back when touring industry started. Everyone thought, males are stronger than women. There's a lot of, heavy lifting and, that kind of thing, which people now use forklifts for and all that. And I have seen females doing load-ins and doing rigging and all that. But a lot of these guys in this industry have been doing this since, the 80s. So as they leave, it'll bring in a new market of people, hopefully more women. I've been seeing more women in colleges trying to get involved, so hopefully that'll change.
I definitely think that men are treated better in the music industry than females.
Why do you think that?
Because I've experienced inequality and I've seen it with other females that I'm friends with. I mean, overall, we're just treated differently. I worked for one day of Vans Warped Tour selling t-shirts for a nonprofit, and we were bringing all the bins to the bus, and a bunch of guys that were on the tour were like, "Oh, do you want us to help you with that because you guys can't carry it?"
I do not. I feel like the industry is quite diverse, and the opportunity to succeed is always there. You just have to kind of grind and get after it.
Yeah, I think it exists. I think that it's just like racism. People think that it exists. It's like a concept. It's definitely a real thing. Some people are very sexist and some people take feminism and things like that to the extreme. It's not a universal thing. I don't believe that everybody experiences sexism or practices sexist behaviors, but I think that there are individual cases and situations where it is a factor.
Now for a lively lift. Ice cold Coca-Cola. There's no waistline worry with Coke, you know. Another thing, the cold, crisp taste of Coke is so satisfying, it keeps me from eating something else that might really add those pounds.
Yes, women workers do present problems, Joe. It's tough, I know, but there are thousands of others, just like you all over the country, facing the same problems. A foreman will always have the eternal feminine to contend with, Joe.
Or your phone one last time, which one would you pick? Makeup or your phone?
Is this what you think girls have trouble choosing between?
Yeah. Can you really go anywhere without your cell phone?
Yes.
How long can you go without looking at Twitter?
Many hours.
Hours.
Many hours.
I don't believe it.
Absolutely. I have to do it. But, you know, when I'm at a dinner table, I like to be present and talking.
Good quality.
Eye contact.
Ladies, learn.
Yeah.
Listen and learn, ladies.
Boys, learn.
Oh, excuse me.
Come on.
So I just wanted to ask you, as you were reading the script, did you ever think, why are all these women in here? I thought this was supposed to be a man's movie.
No. Not for 1 minute. That's kind of obvious.
Aren't you a little bit too beautiful to be a science officer?
That's very kind of you. I'm very flattered. But I didn't know that those things were mutually exclusive.
The Scarlet, to get into the shape of Black Widow, did you have anything special to do in terms of the diet?
How come you get like the really interesting like existential question and I get the like rabbit food question?
These people are people. They're exactly the same as you. They got exactly the same needs, requirements. They're human beings, you know. But what's really scary is the men that are older than us have created a world in which we're supposed to believe that these girls are somehow secondary to us.
Offering my voice here as a representative of the media, which is often, I think, fairly criticized for being a big part of the problem when it comes to justice for women, equality for women, how women are objectified, how we objectify ourselves. I think a lot about where that problem is stemming from. Our responsibility is to be storytellers. And why aren't we telling the stories that are educating the masses to empower them to avoid a lot of these situations? Seems like that's really part of the healing process, is communities coming together and empowering themselves through the power of a group and understanding that they don't have to put up with that shit anymore. Why isn't that coming from the media? Why aren't women in particular being empowered from a young age from the media? So I'm really interested in that, and I think it's not entirely surprising, since within the media, within Hollywood, they can't even figure out their own system of injustice. And that is something that I confront on a day-to-day basis, as any woman working in any level of any part of Hollywood will tell you. It's really hard to get stories made that are about women, not just women being obsessed with men or supporting men. And it's really hard to get men to be a part of films that are about women in a leading role. I'm really interested in how we can adjust that, considering that it's all based on the demand. Movies are made based on what people are asking for. Magazines are sold based on what they think people are asking for. So really the power is in our hands, and it's just a matter of really asking for it much louder.
And to the audiences who went to see it, and perhaps those of us in the industry who are still foolishly clinging to the idea that female films with women at the center are niche experiences. They are not. Audiences want to see them, and in fact, they earn money.
The front page of the Sun today, right? Front page, 2013. It's just a naked woman, and it just says "Hello, boys" across her tits. That's what it says, right? That is the front cover of the #1 selling newspaper in the UK. Not 30 years ago, today.
American Pie. So American Pie, but we reversed the gender roles. So all women played men, all men played women. And it was so fascinating to be a part of this because as the women took on these central roles that had all the good lines, therefore all the good laughs, all the great moments, the men who had joined us to sit on stage started squirming rather uncomfortably and got really bored because they weren't used to being the supporting cast. And it was fascinating to feel their discomfort, to discuss it with them afterwards when they said, it's boring to play the girl role. And I said, yeah. You think? Welcome to our world. It was also fascinating to see how the movie was just as entertaining and hilarious and exciting with women saying these roles, that it didn't seem awkward to see a woman saying one line, that it was something that clearly should be done more often, that when we switch the roles, as has been done with movies, you know, many of you probably know that in Alien, Sigourney Weaver's role was written for a man. In Salt, Angelina Jolie's role was written for Tom Cruise. These things, when reversed, do prove to be just as exciting and entertaining with women in leading roles. But I think it's something that is still just at the beginning stages in Hollywood. It's very difficult to get a movie financed with a woman in a leading role. And that's something that now as a producer, I'm starting to really become familiar with. So,
you know, and that's what we need to try and shake somehow. Because when I looked at the Sun this morning and saw that woman with the "Hello, boys" thing, oh, come on, I'm a man, all right? So I'm never gonna like be disgusted by a good-looking woman with very few clothes on. However, I did think, this is on the front cover of a newspaper. Therefore, it's not, to me, it's not a million miles away from, like, just imagine if it was like a black guy, yeah, in a loincloth with bare feet, with a massive piece of watermelon, like this. And it just said, "Yes, boss." Like that, you know, there'd be outrage. Right? You can't show black people like that. It's 2013. It's 2013. We'd have a race riot on our hands. But women are just expected to just shut up and just take it. You know, just hey, listen, just deal with it. Because that's how it is. It's a man's world. And it is. And the fact that we got that power and abuse it is what's a bit disturbing.
My name is Macy. I'm 22. I am a senior at Framingham State University, and I work at the British Beer Company. Well, I work at a pub, so at the bar it kind of gets like, there's some like customers that get pretty inappropriate. Like obviously when there's like drinking involved, people act a certain way. But I also have seen that happen like in cases like for some of like my male coworkers. Like I've seen like bridal showers and parties and stuff like that, like obsess over like the men that are serving them, and it's funny, like they act like it's kind of funny. And I guess it's kind of different because when it happens to like the female servers, it's kind of like uncomfortable or awkward because it's like more of a inappropriate situation. I feel like inappropriate intentions, I guess. I think that there's probably like a lot of different factors for why there's still a gap in pay. I think that it goes back to like generations and generations of those like policies and stuff being in place, and I think that there have been improvements towards like shortening the gap, and there's definitely people who like contradict the gap that are like women CEOs and things like that. There's definitely been an increase in people in positions like that, so it's certain aspects of it like are increasing, but there's obviously still a gap. So I think that there's probably a lot of different things, like sexism for one is probably a thing. It's not in place at every company, but there's no denying that in some places there's like incidents and experiences where things like that do happen. The way that men and women can market themselves like in the industry is different. Like if men market their sexuality as kind of like a smart thing and it's a huge way to grow their fan base and people don't look at it that way. Like on the list, Mark Wahlberg, Bradley Cooper, Robert Downey Jr., like those are all actors that like have no problem like selling their sexuality. But if the women on the other hand were to use their sexuality as like a huge advantage, people would kind of criticize that. So I think that that's also another double standard.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
My role is a woman.
Yeah.
She got 100 cat calls. Let me add 101. Damn, babe, you're a piece of woman.
What? Didn't men give you the kitchen?
As to be taken seriously, you can't wear skin-tight jeans.
Right, and she's a slut.
Female happiness is an oxymoron.
Most women are happier at home. They are pretending that they like working, and they're not making money because they don't stay all night at the office. They don't go the extra mile. They don't work all weekend. You're making a mistake. You would be much happier at home with a husband and children.
Oh, boy. Tell me about your dress. I have to ask you.
Who are you wearing? Who are you wearing?
Who did the dress?
Who are you wearing? We gotta know.
I'm loving this Prada dress.
This dress, a vision in red, a vision in blue.
I did try and fuck her. She was married. I used some Tic Tac just in case they start kissing her. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. I can do anything.
Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
What kind of interview is this?
My name is Blake Pantalina. I'm 23 years old, and I work as a production runner and office assistant for Live Nation New England. I think there's definitely a conception where women have to prove themselves kind of thing. A lot of males won't necessarily want to hire like a female production manager just based off they just wouldn't trust them kind of thing, and that's a sexist kind of view. I think that, especially on like a local level, it's a little bit easier. A lot of them, people get hired as assistants and they can prove themselves that way and work their way up the chain. But on a touring level, it's kind of harder. There's going to be more pressure on them. And then there's also the views that, there's no real girls around. Guys might sexually harass women, and it makes it harder for them to get through their days than it would for a male who doesn't have these issues as often. About a few months ago, I was working a show in one of the local arenas around Boston, and I was working as a production runner. There's about 6 or 7 of us on the show, and there was 2 female runners. When we were talking to the production manager for the entire show, he was telling us that one of you have to be ex-artist runner, but we can't have any females do it. So we kind of, gave her a little look like, well, why is that? Told us that that artist and their crew has been sexually harassing any female runner that they get, and they've been having issues with this the entire tour. So to cut that out, we have to give it to a male.
I'm Alicia. I'm 22. I do ticket scanning and co-check at Bright Music Hall in the Paradise. I think men are just looked at like stronger in that they can handle it better, and females are looked at like they're weak and they can't handle doing things like doing security. I felt unsafe at work doing ticket scanning, specifically a handful of times, from guys not respecting the fact that I do work there and that they have to listen to me and that I'm just trying to scan their tickets and will try and run past me or just like straight up disrespect me.
Have you ever seen the same disrespect happen to a male ticket scanner or a man in your position?
Every time I've ever worked with a male, and they have an issue with me asking for their ticket, and the guy I'm working with will say it, they have no disregard to him. They totally respect him, and they'll listen to him, but like completely disrespect me. A few years ago at Warped Tour, I was waiting to watch my favorite band of all time, and I was right up at barricades waiting in anticipation for my favorite band to go on next. And the singer of the band before that just looked at me and a group of other girls and just continued like being like, "You're just a slut."
Was there a specific reason behind why he was saying that?
He wasn't prompted to it. We were literally just standing there watching his band, a band that I had previously been a fan of. And from what I've understood about what he said past that is it was based on how we were dressed.
Was anything done about that?
The only thing done is that the singer of my favorite band called them out on stage.
We're afforded a bit of a soapbox on the stage with this microphone. But when I hear shit from other bands that I disagree with, I don't mean to tear it down, but I feel like I need to use the soapbox a little bit and speak to the opposite. I want to say this. I want to say this. Women are not sluts and women are not bitches. Women are your fucking mothers, your sisters, your friends. Treat them with the same respect you treat anyone. Ladies, never let anyone demean you with that bullshit. I don't care. If some asshole on the street with a singer in your favorite band, tell him to fuck himself. You're not a slut, you're not a bitch, you're a fucking woman.
This is how I became a feminist. I didn't plan to become a feminist. I didn't plan to represent any female issues whatsoever. It was my daughters who made me think, hold on, this is messed up. This is actually messed up. And I'm not going to pretend there isn't a place for what you might call, I don't know, erotica, or like, you know, seeing women in a certain way, or seeing men in a certain way. You know, everybody needs titillation at some point. What I'm saying is, why just in our face? Like, just you got to explain that to little kids when they see it. You know I got to explain to my daughters now, yeah? Why there's a massive billboard on the motorway when we drive to see our cousins in South London that just says pussy. I got to explain that. Sorry, bro. I got to explain that to a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. I got to explain to them. Why is it? Because they can both read. Do you know what I'm saying? They're smart kids. So they both read and say, where's the cat? They always say, where's the cat? Why does it just say pussy? So now I got to explain. And the company that makes that drink, they know what's going on. They're trying to pretend, they're trying to play it like they're innocent and that. And they even have like a little phrase under the word where it says like, oh, you know, the drink is pure. It's just your dirty mind. They're playing us as idiots. Every one of you in here knows what's going on with that drink, right? They're using the fact that this is a kind of, you know, the way this country is run, it's basically run by men. It's governed by men, right? So when we see a billboard saying pussy, we don't even bat an eyelid. It's not an issue. But flip the script. Do you know what I'm saying? Would you drink a drink called cock? On the real. Thank you. You're not going to slurp on a drink called dick. Come on now. It would be outrageous. You'd actually be angry if someone asked you to. You know? But yet we can fill our fridges with pussy and it's not an issue. Right? That's nuts. There's no future in being separate. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no future in saying this group of people, we're not really interested in them. We share this country, and it's a tiny country, so we're all going to bump into each other at some place, some time, shape, or form.
The people who are in the industry now, who have been working in it for 30, 40 years, as they start to exit and a lot of these kind of more sexist views leave the industry, I feel like personally it'll get better, as a lot of people nowadays are more, aware that you can't treat a woman like this, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't say that. As that progresses, hopefully it's not going to be a quick change, and it probably will take maybe another 20, 30 years, who knows. But I do see it getting better.
Yeah, I was in Senegal recently this sounds like I'm making it up, but I swear to God, on a camel in Senegal in the middle of the desert, when the guy who was helping me not fall off my camel said, "You're Dr. 13 on House." And I just realized, like, we have to do a better job of representing different lifestyles and women in empowered roles, because literally everybody is seeing the stuff that we put out, so we have to be more responsible about what we do put out.
And that sense of responsibility is something that comes with age and experience. What I'm saying to you is, even if it's in the back of your mind, even if it's just a little thing in the back of your mind, and you know, hold on, this isn't 100% right, then you have the power. You have the power to make changes. Do you know what I'm saying? Because